Hi there, Pisces. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl, and we're looking at September 28th through October 4. And following on from last weekend's incredible, intense, and very in your face supermoon total lunar eclipse, which was in your second house of self esteem, self worth, cash flow, financial issues. This is one of those weeks when you would like just to, go through all your bank statements, make sure everything's on the up and up, check your credit cards, and make sure no one's stolen your identity and is living in Monte Carlo on a boat that you're paying for. However, this week, while it's definitely going to be a lot calmer than last week, Mercury, the communicator, which is currently out of phase or retrograde in Libra, meets up with the sun, and when it does, it comes very close to the surface of the Earth. And that's going to put quite a magnetic spin on the Earth's surface, and that in turn is going to affect a lot of our computers and iPhones and mobile phones and televisions, anything that you feel is computerized. It has a magnetic field that can mess up the computers in people's cars. People have the nice fancy cars that have very extensive computer systems, with all the lights come on. You could find that a lot of lights come on this week, or something more like your brakes aren't working very well, or you feel like there's just something wrong with the car. Well, you need to go get that fixed, because there is probably something wrong with your car. Be careful too of speeding tickets, parking tickets, not reading the signs, especially if you live in a crazy city like Los Angeles or New York, where the signs are meant to be confusing so they can give you tickets. It really can, or downtown Sydney and Melbourne too, it's very confusing. Can you park here? Do you have to have a permit? Can you park here for 1 hour? Or really, if you're not sure, it's really worth throwing it into a garage and paying $25 for the day or whatever it is, and knowing that you're not going to get a ticket. Because I've had 4 clients who have gotten tickets last week, and then 3 more this week, and friends who have gotten towed simply because they didn't put enough money in the meter or just completely forgot altogether. So you've got to be very, very careful. Now, of course, Mercury and the Sun are both transiting Libra, and that is a sign of balance and harmony. And you're another sign that really does like balance and harmony. You don't like emotional drama, uproar, upset, fighting, screaming, crying. Even though you are an emotional water sign, you don't deal so well with it. And this is going to be a lesson for you. With Mercury and the Sun in your 8th house of intimacy, you may find that you aren't able to be intimate with somebody. And intimacy doesn't necessarily mean sex. Intimacy means that you're there for somebody. Intimacy means that if your girlfriend or boyfriend's having a bad day, that you can grab them, give them a hug, and draw a bath for them and sit by the bath and listen to what's going on, and get a glass of wine for them, or cook their favorite dinner, and just be sweet to them, spoon them in bed. And there's always sex, of course. And you may feel a little off with that you feel like you've got your own issues. Well, being intimate is a huge problem that a lot of people have. And with people with Asperger's and ADD and all these sorts of things, intimacy is very difficult for people. And these conditions have become more and more prevalent, and the medication people take for these conditions more and more has stopped people being intimate. And I just want to remind you to get your intimacy on, if possible, this week. If you feel that you're having a crappy day and you want someone to give you some love, or vice versa, this is the time to be intimate, Pisces. Have a wonderful week. Great speaking to you. Be kind to yourself, and I'll speak to you again next week.